Ladies and gents, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this action-packed wrestling weekend. I hope you enjoyed the aftermath because we're going to talk about it, and that's what you're going to hear from us this week. But before we get into all that, to my left, as always, is Darnell, the Playmaker Silence. How are you doing, Darnell? How you feeling?
It's been a long week.
Yeah. But, might as well go in chronological order. NXT TakeOver. I got caught doing the business, but you're the one that actually saw it live. How did you like it?
We caught it out the gate. So, I mean,
did we really get the match order right all the way?
let me dive into it. Opening up, as you always state, like Triple H like to do, tag team titles on the line. Street Profits defending against Undisputed Era. And right out the gate, your whole thing about the Undisputed Era went out the door very quickly as Street Profits to retain the tag team titles.
Well,
that was a damn good match. They did a lot in that, but it got better because right after that, the long match that doesn't have a title in it, Candice LeRae and Io Shirai. Now I know why you said what you said when Io Shirai turned on Candice LeRae, because they followed that matchup and had a damn good match they did themselves. And surprisingly, Io Shirai was not the genius of the sky in that match. She barely went to the top. She did some top rope move, but she went barely up there like she usually was. She was more of a striker in this one. Candice wasn't doing the high flying stuff though. So I see some work with the husbands paying off. Then we got to the North American Championship triple threat match. Velveteen Dream defending against Pete Dunne and Roger Strong. Pete Dunne could have won it about twice. Roger Strong looked like he was going to win it at the last second until Velveteen Dream hit the purple rain on him while he was on top of Pete Dunne to keep the North American Championship.
Damn.
Undisputed Era 0-2 so far. And surprisingly, the worst match of the card was the Women's NXT Championship match. There was actually a bad match in NXT Dallas.
Oh. What was wrong with it?
I understand what Me and Yin was doing. I think people understand what Me and Yin was doing, but it just didn't sit right.
What was she trying to do?
She pretty much was trying to turn into somewhat of a street fight. She was doing everything in her power to get that title from her, but it just didn't look right. And then the words of you saying that you don't think she was ready for this, it came true. But to her credit, she did happen to hurt Shayna Baszler, so she couldn't use her finishing move. She had to do something else. But pretty much more devastating. She put it in a triangle chokehold in a different way.
Oh man, triangles always look good in wrestling. Undertaker used to use a triangle way back when.
So Shayna Baszler still women's champion. And then we got to the main event. NXT Championship, Gargano, Code 3. And let me go ahead and just say that one's probably the best one they ever had. And that's saying a lot. By the way, the first fall went to Code, but not in a way that everybody thought it would. Nobody seen it coming. Gargano gave Code the first fall.
Well, he let himself get counted out?
He hit him with a steel chair.
Oh, well.
On purpose.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. That'll get the street fight started.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's like they say. Well, Gargano said, well, let me give you my street fight right now. And went the railing on Adam Cole with the steel chair. And that went on for a good little minute because people thought, oh, we might not even get to a third fall there because of how long this match is going already. But Gargano tossed Cole into a steel chair in the corner. Put him in his submission hold. We are tied 1-1. In Dallas, I think a few of us saw it because Ryan Rigger didn't tell us. He actually showed us on the kickoff. But when everybody else finally saw what it was, because you couldn't see it, it blew everybody away. It was a barbed wire steel cage with weapons inside. All right. Sledgehammer, ladder. Gargano already had 2 tables in the ring. I'm doing a street fight, so that ain't up staying enough. Kendo sticks. Barbed wire pliers. I mean, it basically was a 3 stages of hell, as you would say. And it's amazing how those two, after going through those 2 falls, was still able to go on for about another good 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. Like, they gave it 46 minutes, 41 seconds. Like, they went for a very long time.
You could have, and I kid you not, Dallas, I was saying him like, I think Gargano's gonna put off. He grabbed the barbed wire and he cut a piece of the barbed wire off. Cole went to go hide, but you can't hide. It's a barbed wire staircase. Where can you escape from? So, barbed wire staircase. You can't go nowhere. So they on top of this cage, and there's 2 tables set up where these 2 are fighting on top of the cage. They both go through the table, the bar table. And Adam Cole just does put the arm over the body for the 1, 2, 3 to keep the title. The crowd and everybody, including my brother, sat there in awe. Like he put off the trifecta of matches. Now before you go on, go ahead. What you think about it? Take over from what you just heard.
I'm thinking that Triple H has already set a very high bar with TakeOver. It's almost to the point where it's like hearing that a TakeOver was super good doesn't surprise me. And the fact that everyone retained does surprise me. Because, NXT, Darnell, it's that weird. It's not even like ECW when they got brought back, where ECW was a legit third brand. And, ECW gave certain people a chance to be world champion. And when somebody was that good, they would get pulled up and they would give ECW somebody sorry. NXT is developmental. I guess the Performance Center, which is the wrestling school, and NXT is like, the FCW, the OVW. Like, it is the developmental promotion, and you're only there really for one reason. And that's to get to the main roster and get the main roster money. You're still a rookie once you get to the main roster, even if you're like Finn Balor, Shinsuke, and Samoa Joe, and y'all been in the business forever and NXT for years, then finally get called up. That being said, I'm kind of baffled because, Finn Balor's Intercontinental Championship run was meh. The Revival's Raw Tag Team Championship run was hella meh. And, they're basically making one of the top contenders in the SmackDown division a loser. And then there's Natalya. I mean, this goes without saying. So it's weird that, like, everybody retained because it's like the next takeovers traditionally are on major pay-per-view weekends. You mean to say that November is like the next time where somebody might lose a title and get called up? You can always lose titles on TV, or you can always be like the Street Profits and kind of, just have your championship belt on TV and do promos, so that way you're not losing matches. But I don't know. I don't know.
But this week of NXT, usually you know how they do after a takeover, they really don't do much. Probably have a couple of matches, but mostly a recap episodes. But Bronzango got a video over the Forgotten Sons.
Ooh, you botched that name hella hard.
Oh well. Anyway.
Jesus.
And then we have Jordan Miles, the winner of the breakout tournament.
Also known as ACH.
He will get a future championship opportunity of his choosing. And next week, they're gonna try this again, Dallas. Matt Riddle, Killian Dane, they're gonna try this again. By the way, they had a brawl on TakeOver. Out of nowhere.
Bro, bro. Oh God! Speaking of brawls, Jesus. Speaking of brawls with 300-pound men, Jesus. Oh man! Like, did you have anything else to say about TakeOver? Because that is the perfect segue.
No, that's all I got for NXT. Period. That's all your NXT news.
Okay. Oh my God, that is the perfect segue. So Matt Riddle talked about how he saw Goldberg backstage. He saw Goldberg's locker room and wanted to peek in and see if he could talk to him. And then Goldberg like shoulder bumped him. And Matt Riddle said it was like one of the biggest shoulders he ever felt. And he turned around and Goldberg basically said they had some talking to do. And he was like, "Oh, we do?" He was like, "Yeah." Well, I was like, "Well, bro, we can talk anytime." He was like, "I'm not your bro." And he was like, "Oh, well, bro. Okay, yeah, cool it. And he was like, "Yeah, well, you know, it was a pleasure to meet you. It was a pleasure meeting you too, bro." And then Goldberg was walking away and he said, "I'm not your bro." So Goldberg's doing the old school pro wrestling veteran stuff, apparently, and Matt Riddle, who clearly doesn't give two flying shits, wants to smoke with him and Brock Lesnar. So a former NFL football player for the Falcons, and I mean the most decorated combat athlete of all time, is who Matt Riddle wants to smoke with. I think he's going to be a part-timer, Darnell, because I don't think he's going to last long pissing off Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. And here's the crazy thing about Goldberg. And I mean, we'll do this match first because this match literally has no bearing on anything whatsoever. It's not so much that Goldberg is a great professional wrestler. It's just that he is so questionable as a professional wrestler. I wouldn't want him taking liberties with me. The second spear that he hit on Dolph Ziggler, I thought Dolph had a football in his chest. I thought he took it to back in the day when he was playing for the Falcons. Dolph folded. And Dolph is a really, really good seller. But when Dolph got hit with that second spear, I was like, no.
This was after the match that didn't even go 2 minutes, okay?
Yeah, mind you, Darnell, forget the talking about them. I think we all knew once they did the long, elaborate, you're not facing me, Dolph was losing. Nobody walked into SummerSlam thinking Dolph was going to win that match. So as far as recapping what actually happened in the quote-unquote contest, yeah, that's for the birds, Darnell. Dude, the third spear was really good too, but the second one was the one where it's like, then I can't remember. Do you remember who did it from back in the day where there was a similar thing where somebody just kept getting their ass beat? And like every time the person walked out, they did what Dolph did, saying, "A coward, you can't beat me face to face." Like somebody else did it. And when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, I've seen that."
Who it was, who?
Who was it?
Matter of fact, I think Goldberg was part of that one too, if I remember correct.
Who was the person he was sparing?
Y2J.
Oh my God, it was, yes.
He wasn't Y2J. He was Jericho back in WCW.
Oh my God, yes, that is exactly Chris Jericho told that story. Yeah. Oh my God, he told the story of how he had to touch up Goldberg because Goldberg was feeling himself. He thought the gimmick was real. So he wanted to work with Goldberg, and Goldberg didn't want to work with a cruiserweight. And Chris Jericho was like, dude, it's no big deal. I'll make you look good. We could do whatever. How about we do this? And Goldberg, like, no-sold him. So he touched him up in the locker room, and then they started working together. He squashed Chris Jericho multiple times. But Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Thank you so much, Darnell. I need to YouTube that when we get done.
Dolph Ziggler. Just don't. Wow. I think the second was when you text me, and I'm like, is he trying to have broken ribs?
The crazy thing is, a dirt sheet saying that Dolph had a handshake agreement that SummerSlam was going to be his last date. Now they're saying that Vince is saying he'd rather pay Dolph just to stay home. I mean, so it would explain why Dolph did what he did, because when you leave, you're supposed to leave on your back. And I mean, we don't think of it now, but dude, when Dolph is done in WWE, if he has time to go somewhere else, even for like a year, dude, Dolph's resume is up there. Dolph's resume is a lot fuller than a lot of the dudes in the Hall of Fame right now. Dolph has more titles, world titles, than a lot of dudes in the Hall of Fame. Dolph has a longer run in the company than some dudes in the Hall of Fame. Dolph made more characters work than some of the dudes in the Hall of Fame. And I mean, when you think of Rikishi, Coco Beware, Godfather, and like some of the other guys who would be considered like jobbers or like low carders or mid carders or whatever, who really didn't do much championship wise, Dolph is better than them. Like, just being real, Dolph is better than a lot of the dudes who are in the Hall of Fame just because they entertain millions and millions around the world and whatever they want to call it. So I mean, he made Goldberg look like. They made it seem like between the Undertaker match at Extreme Rules and this Goldberg match that Saudi Arabia was non-canon. They made it seem like Saudi Arabia was some Game Boy Advance spinoff. And dude, like, maybe that's why Vince couldn't let Dolph leave. If Dolph could make Goldberg look that damn good after what happened in that Undertaker match, I wouldn't let Dolph leave either.
All right, and let's bring everybody up real quick. 3 kickoff matches. Drew Gulak retained the Cruiserweight Champion only Lonkin. Brady Murphy, as Data said the week before, snitches get stitches, and that's pretty much what happened to him because they were fighting Apollo Crews, but that match didn't finish.
Shout out to Apollo Crews losing yet another match, because officially that went down as Apollo getting DQ'd.
Yep.
So shout out to them finding yet another way to make Apollo lose.
As Warren beat the whole hell out of Brady Murphy.
I mean, apologize.
The women tag team champion was on the kickoff show.
And the formers.
And pretty much Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, they just got started, so they ain't gonna lose it back to the Iconics. Like, okay, so. And then we get to the main card. And the first match on the card was the submission match, Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel when you heard Becky Lynch music hit?
I mean, I didn't feel any type of way. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you, man. Like, them opening up with this match was a good move because, the Canada crowd is weird. So on one hand, they could have been cheering the hell out of Natalya and booed when Natalya lost, like they really thought she had a chance. Or they could have, massively cheered for Becky Lynch, been excited that they got to see Becky Lynch and not have to wait for her, and whatever. Canada crowd is weird. With that being said, though, I mean, it was a good match. But as far as like how I felt when Becky Lynch's music hit, dude, it's really hard to get excited for a match like this because it's like, who really thought Natalya had a chance? And when you see that it's a submission match, and it's a submission match in Natalya's home country, and they basically did like a heel turn for Natalya, like just for this match, it's like, well, at least they're getting it out the way early. And that's exactly what they did. But they gave him a good amount of time. They gave him 12 and a half minutes.
That was a damn good match.
It was a good match. It was a good match because, Natalia's a really, really, really good pro wrestler. So I already knew the match was going to be good when they said it was a submission match. And they did some real good spots. I was confused as they why they made it seem like a submission match is no DQ, though. I don't understand why they did that. I don't understand why they didn't count him out. I don't understand why they didn't have rope breaks. I don't understand why they didn't do 5 counts. And I don't understand why, just everything.
So pretty much what they're saying, the only way for this match to end is somebody has to pretty much quit.
And see, that's the problem though with the other hardcore matches. Because the no holds barred match, a street fight, and a hardcore match, and a falls count anywhere match are really the same match, except one you have to end in the ring. Well, 2 you have to end in the ring. Then, when you start explaining the subtleties and whatever and blah, 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 it's just like, dude, it's the same match. And if that's basically how you're going to do it, what you're basically saying is it's an I quit match, but you have to have a hold locked in first. I personally don't like when they overlap matches like that. You need to make sure that the I quit match still has what it's supposed to have. And when you make a submission match no DQ and you make it the only way to win is by submission, you're making it an I quit match. You just don't want Natalya to lose an I quit match. She can lose. She can tap out. She can tap out in her own country. But, dude, when you lose an I quit match, and then it's really, there's a title on the line, but, dude, it's an I quit match for absolutely no reason. But, like I said, that's just me personally. Other people were probably happy that they got to do all the stuff that they did because the match was good because of the stuff that they were able to do. So
the sharpshooter between the ropes.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, well, I guess that's why they did that. And it confused me because my stream was skipping, but when I refreshed, I see that Natalya is just like walking with Becky Lynch and beating her up on the outside. I'm like, why did you let go? If it's no 5 count, why did you let? But again, hey, you gotta have suspension of disbelief sometimes.
And then after that, it was the Goldberg match we already talked about. United States Championship match, AJ Styles Ricochet.
Bruh. We knew about the high flying aspect, but the finish though. Somebody said Ricochet got his ass beat so hard he came out as Nightwing but should have dressed up as Jason Todd. DC fans popped at that tweet and probably snickered just now. Because, oh my God, if you're familiar with all the Robins, you got to get your ass beat a special kind of way to be Jason Todd.
I'm going to let that one go. There we go, boo boy. SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley versus Ember Moon. Bayley retained.
They had her lose. Well, no, they had her get her ass beat the SmackDown before. They had her lose this match. Then, for whatever reason, because Charlotte needs to keep her momentum, they had her lose on Tuesday. So that's why I said what I said earlier about I was surprised everybody retained in NXT because Darnell, it's confusing to me. They built up Lacey Evans, did that whole thing. She hasn't been on TV. They have Ember Moon hit her finisher on Charlotte and Bayley and make a statement. She gets pinned in a mixed tag match. Gets beat up to show before a pay-per-view. Loses at the pay-per-view. Loses the show after. You can't build up a division that way. And I'm sorry I don't have much commentary from the actual match to share, but it's because in the big scheme of things, dude, okay, Bayley hits a belly to belly. Did she hit off the top rope?
It was off top rope. I really starting to hate that finisher.
Why? Because it looks so simple, or because it's just like
it is so simple.
I know, right? It's one of those weird things where it's like, hey, technical wrestlers are supposed to be so masterful. Like when you're a technical wrestler, you're either Dean Malenko or William Regal. Like when you really look back, Darnell, William Regal didn't have a lot of moves. He had like the STF. He was really good at headlocks, and he was like a brawler. But when it came to his actual grappling, they call William Regal one of the most technical wrestlers ever. But William Regal didn't have a lot of moves. Dean Malenko, on the other hand, Dean Malenko, and that's kind of a weird thing with Bayley because I would say that Bayley, she is a technician. I think she's good at what she does, and I think that technicians need to have a move that highlights the fact that they're so good at pro wrestling they can finish you with anything. It is weird though at a pay-per-view where it's like, I mean, she's done the top rope elbow drop before. She's worn the Macho Man tassels before. I get doing the avalanche belly to belly suplex, but at the same time, it's like she does have the elbow drop in her repertoire that she could have used at a pay-per-view.
See, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Goldberg, Dolph Ziggler got everything started, and it was a great start. AJ Styles, Ricochet, they fell off because it was mostly AJ Styles ground and Ricochet.
And as the heel, that's what he's supposed to do. And that's the thing with, that's gonna happen as far as critiquing Ricochet matches from now on. Because since he's Paul Heyman's project, he's gonna get built up as one of the top baby faces, which means that he's going to have to learn as a character on screen and off screen how to make it work and how to make things shake without flying all the time. Because a heel is going to ground him because that's how they're going to win. The same way, if you're playing the Colts, usually you want them to run. That's a great thing if they run. Because it's going to be 3 and out. And that's the same thing with Ricochet. Okay, stay on the ground. Try to wrestle me. Try to outstrike me. You won't. But that's you're right, because it took kind of a nosedive. Then when you got Kevin Owens and Shane match, it was like.
So Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon, yet again, Elias had to appear in a referee shirt. Either way, Kevin Owens got through it, kept his job. But that's not the end of that. We got more to come when it comes to that.
I know, right? Oh my God.
And then we got back inside it again. Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus.
I just said that Bayley and Natalya were very, very good professional wrestlers. Charlotte Flair is one of the best workers I've seen. It was so obvious that Charlotte carried Trish Stratus during that match. Charlotte Flair is, I don't want to say she's just like her daddy, but my God, like she has that trait, Darnell. She has the trait of like, give me whoever, I'm gonna make them look good. Like, people think Ric Flair was just an asshole and a narcissist, and in some ways he was. But when it came to wrestling as the NWA World Champion and going to a random territory and going to a 60-minute draw with somebody's the top guy, dude, he would make them look like magic. And Charlotte made Trish Stratus look like she actually could go at 40-something.
I mean, I think I've seen some new moves from Trish in that match.
I think top rope Hurricane Rana. She did a figure 8, but called it a figure 6.
Did she do a torpedo DDT too?
She might have.
But we all knew this was the passing of the choice thing here. So Charlotte won.
Mm-hmm.
But it got everything back excited again. I'll give that got everything back excited again.
Yeah, that was good. It's like, dude, and that's what I mean. Like Charlotte, as much as comical as it is that they're just flooding her with championship reigns and opportunities, dude, you can't say it's unwarranted. I mean, bruh, like, I'm not saying Charlotte did it single-handedly. Trish Stratus definitely did her part. But dude, like, there's a reason why Charlotte's in the spot that she's in. She's the ace in the hole. She could just. Dude, the pay-per-view was dead at that point.
And then the disappointing part of the whole SummerSlam. The WWE Championship between Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton. And it's not disappointing because they couldn't get it. It's the finish that killed the whole vibe.
I am so tired of the WWE Championship in particular ending in double DQs, double countouts, false finishes. They did it the entire AJ Styles reign. It's just like, what is with them in this belt in particular and not wanting people to lose? I get it because, now they're actually doing an actual feud, and that makes sense, and that's good. That's probably what they should do because, it's a long way to Survivor Series. It's a long way to, whatever they're doing in October. So it makes sense. Kofi needs somebody reputable to face, and that's going to make Kofi's win that much sweeter if he walks out on top from this feud. But, dude, the whole looking at his kids, and then Kofi snaps, and then they forget come on, bro. Like, dude, your kids were there the whole time. Randy Orton was playing mind games the whole time leading up to the match. When baby faces use champion's advantage, it's always this, oh, you talked about my family, the unbridled rage, blah, blah, blah. And then next Tuesday, Kofi's happy-go-lucky Kofi again. And it's like, bro, you just got so pissed you got double DQ'd, but okay.
It was such a good match. Felt the intensity in it, and then I think people forgot the referee was even counting. That's how good it was. We forgot about the referee. We were just like, yo, they's going there. The day we heard the bell was like, what? And then the Fiend Bray Wyatt went against Human Finn Balor and Dallas. We were wrong. They did not go 6 minutes.
Yeah. Now here's the weird thing. Because I was so enthralled, and because I didn't want it to end, I did not realize it was so short. I did not realize that this thing went less than 3.5 minutes. Because the pacing. Oh, God, the entrance. Like, I think that the entrance was money to the point where, okay, this is going to be a squash match. So we're not going to get oohs and ahs and just be the entrance. Let me know, okay, this is it. You're not going to fuck it up. I have all the faith in the world that they're not going to fuck it up, because up until that point, I was wondering what was so TV 14 about the show. Then I saw, oh, Bray Wyatt's head. And I thought that was him. I thought I was like, like lighting the mask or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then like the camera zoomed out and it was like, oh my.
That the Undertaker's entrance is bone chilling. Because you know who's coming down to the ring. It's the Grim Reaper.
And then Undertaker's music is just so like calming and final. Like you're really getting ready to die. When Bray Wyatt came out,
I said, oh, okay, yeah. Now we have a nightmare coming.
I mean, when Bray Wyatt, the Fiend is a mix between Mankind, Kane, and Undertaker. Like, he has that mystique about him that Undertaker did when he first debuted at Survivor Series, where it's like, who the hell? Because when Undertaker first came out, he was literally dressed as an Undertaker. When the Fiend, came out the first couple of times, he was dressed as like a Dark Ringmaster. So he's coming out and he's a Dark Ringmaster, and it's like on the surface, it's like, this scares me, but like, why? One's a grave digger, one's a clown. But then the Kane part is like, This one is much more extreme. This one is much more violent. This one is just a much more unbridled rage. Just like Kane lit JR on fire that one time. Just like Kane, did anything and everything, throwing people off of the entrance ramp when they're in wheelchairs while they're U.S. champion. Just choke slamming people and two slamming people whenever, that's the Kane part. But the Mankind part, we see Mr. Sacco. We see McCool, we see the Bang Bang, we see the Have a Nice Day. We remember Rock and Sock Connection, but we forget, how quickly we forget what Mankind was like when he first debuted.
Psychotic.
Literally psychotic. Crazy. Manic depressive.
Sitting in the ring, rocking back and forth.
Just dude, when the Mandible Claw first came, it was like, what the fuck is he doing? And dude, the finish. Oh my God, the finish. Finn is about to hit the coup de grace, and Bray literally just catches him with the claw. And dude, usually, with the Mr. Sacco version, somebody would tap out, right? But dude, he kind of built it up on the Raws before, but the Mandible Claw version where you choke somebody out and they just fade away and you pin them, when the referee doesn't do the arm thing, it makes it a submission, but when he pins them while you're still choking them out, bro, I haven't seen that in so long. It was perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to tell you, every time, whenever you get ready to see Bray Wyatt, go ahead and put your kids to bed. Because if you don't,
oh yeah, whenever Bray is, people were upset that Bray wasn't on TV this week. But Darnell, let's be honest, where the hell would you have put him?
Ben Battle's nowhere to be found. Ben Battle's nowhere to be found.
Dude, that's my thing. Okay, so you really want him to just come out and talk?
Mm-mm.
The Fiend is not to be cutting promos. Bray Wyatt is here's another thing, Darnell. Finn Balor, he kind of lets people know, he warns people that the demon is coming, but he's not the Paul Heyman. Bray Wyatt is literally the Paul Heyman for the Fiend. Whatever message you have for the Fiend, whatever you want to communicate to the Fiend, you just send it through Bray Wyatt and he'll deliver the message. So it's dude, we're not going to see the Fiend for a very long time. What I'm interested in, Darnell, is A, when Bray Wyatt is Bray Wyatt, is he going to have his old theme? And B, are we ever going to see this Charles Manson version of Bray Wyatt wrestle? Now, because they're giving us piece by piece. We thought that, we finally got it at SummerSlam. But dude, Darnell, when you really think about it, we haven't even scratched the surface. We haven't even realized that we haven't seen regular Bray Wyatt wrestle. Just Fiend.
So I'm going to let you go ahead and do the main event. That way you can get right into the TV.
I don't know if they did the whole weekend to make this match significant. But Seth Rollins was the only one who won a championship. Everybody else retained. It was a good match.
It was a long
match.
It was a long
13-25. 13-25. It was the third longest, actually. Yes. You got 16:45 for the WWE title match, 16:40 for the Trish Stratus Charlotte match, and then 13:25 for the WWE title match. Third longest match of the card. If you had told anybody that walking in, you would have said, did it open? But Seth made it back at SummerSlam and walked out with the Universal Championship. Seth Rollins went into three Big Four pay-per-views in 2019, Darnell. 3 Big Four pay-per-views. Seth Rollins won the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins, even though he opened the show, won the Universal title. Then at SummerSlam, he wins the Universal title in the main event. That's 3 out of the 4 Big Four shows that Seth Rollins, who was the top babyface on Raw, win a very significant match. Has profile ramifications. So, Lesnar did what he did, and they really made it seem like Seth Rollins was in the middle of a squash. Then they had Seth Rollins do his comeback, and then that's when the real match started. And it's kind of sort of, like they made it what it was supposed to be. It was a miracle. It was an act of God that Seth Rollins found the energy and just the pure like stamina and gusto to defeat Lesnar for the Universal Championship. And I mean, do you have anything you want to say to the match right now, or do you want to just go straight to the show? Because I feel like we can talk about the next facet of this story and let you get your stuff in. I don't know.
No, go right ahead, because I was surprised that match went that long.
Yeah, so Paul Heyman does the thing where, Brock Lesnar is not going to be given a rematch, and the whole crowd cheers and everything. And I think that's the best move. I think, I personally thought that, Brock was going to keep the briefcase and cash in on Kofi, because that would have did two things. A, Kofi can't lose to just anybody. Kofi can't lose to somebody who you're trying to build up, and he can't lose to somebody who really doesn't want to be world champion. Randy would have been world champion again by now if he wanted to be world champion. I thoroughly believe that. That being said, if it's not Randy, who? They're building up Rowan really, really strong. Daniel Bryan is still like super relevant, but who? So them not going with Lesnar, I think that's for SmackDown, and I think that's a good thing because it'll give us a chance to breathe. He may have a match at Survivor Series. He may not. SmackDown moves in October. So now that I think about it, Darnell, they might not even have a pay-per-view in October. Well, not like, like the Australian one or whatever, because they really need to go balls to the walls with that first episode of SmackDown Friday. But so we're talking about, because but we're basically talking about a month and a half of not seeing Lesnar. And with that, the whole show is basically focused on, well, not the whole show, but the show is basically focused around AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, potentially. They fucked it up, but potentially. Even though we already had the feud, it was different. It was babyface versus babyface and let the best man win. This time it's, club is back together. Club is back together and Finn Balor is nowhere to be found. Is it just going to stay at 3 members of the club? Who is backing up Seth Rollins? Roman Reigns is trying not to get hit by cars. Like, Seth is a walking duck. But I think it was a smooth transition. But kind of sort of like the SmackDown thing, I don't really know what they're going to do now with the world title.
It's safe to say Ricochet's not out of the picture.
Well, hey, or Braun Strowman, unfortunately.
That's a surprise all right there.
Darn it, what do I say every week when it comes to how WWE does their stuff with booking? WWE is weird. It's a wait your turn sort of thing. In the NFL, you want to be the starting quarterback. You want to be a starting left tackle. You want to be the starting defensive end, the starting middle linebacker. You don't want to wait your turn. In the NBA, you want to be the number one option. You want LeBron feeding the ball to you, not the other way around. In any other sport and any other thing, you want to be the top guy. You want to do what you can in your own power to show them you are the best. And when you show that you are by far the best, you get the starting role, unless you're in the Dallas Cowboys. WWE is the first place I know of where it's like you literally have to wait your turn.
And you said something about the Canadian crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I want to do it. You know exactly where I'm going with this. The disrespect is real up in Canada.
They said, thank you, Sasha.
I mean, Natalya came out. They actually chilled Natalya when she came out. Did her promo in a sling because she was in that Dishonor for quite a while. Like, she held on as long as she could, and you need to go ahead and let that go.
It's crazy because I was joking with you when I told you I don't want to spoil that that Sasha Banks came back and you quickly got off the phone. But dude, I spoiled it, but I didn't spoil it because I didn't tell you how. She came back.
She came back out of nowhere, hugged Natalia, and started beating the brakes off Natalia.
She took off the
girl said, "Thank you, Sasha." I'm like,
no, she took off the wig. She took off the wig.
had blue hair. We went from pink to blue now. I will get on my soapbox, but I'm gonna say that. Anyway, the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Sasha." I'm like, did I miss something here?
And
then the champ came out, and the champ got her ass whooped. So now we know who's next in line for Becky Lynch.
But you know what's crazy though? Again, because going into SummerSlam, I said there is like no way in hell Becky loses that match. She just got announced as a cover athlete. Dude, the women's division. I say it all the time because it's true. The SummerSlam after Natalya puts on a very good match. Nobody's saying that Natalya's a bad pro wrestler at all. She's just a sorry sports entertainer. Dude, Natalya puts on like a great match. One of her best matches of the year by far. The crowd is being the Canada crowd. Sasha Banks comes back out of nowhere. So you have Natalya, who is a legend, in her home country, who just put on a very spectacular professional wrestling contest last night. And Sasha Banks just her music just randomly hits. Sasha Banks turns heel, debuts a new hair color, and proceeds to just beat the brakes off of Natalya in her home country, while being cheered, thoroughly establishing that she is, in fact, a heel. The beating don't stop. She's going to beat her till she gets tired, like a black mama would always say. But she wasn't getting tired, Darnell. Then Becky Lynch comes out. Charlotte takes a quick breath and starts beating the hell out of her. It's the Attitude Era. People forget that Stone Cold and The Rock have like 13 world championships between them. But here's the key to that, Darnell. You can't be a 7-time WWE champion. Well, 8 technically, because he did win it in the PG era. You can't be an 8-time WWE champion, Darnell, without losing 8 times. But that's what made the Attitude Era so great, because it didn't shove either The Rock or Stone Cold down your throat. They were both top guys, and they both had chances to lose. Now we have Becky Lynch, who is actually going to be in a good feud, because if you let Sasha just roll over for Becky Lynch and get squashed every match, Sasha is going to go. And you know that Sasha is going to go. So Sasha has politically parlayed her way into either looking very good in this feud or Becky Lynch having to go after her 5th women's championship, because she had the 3 SmackDown ones. So yeah, she'd be going for her 5th. I mean, hey, we talk about Charlotte and her championships, Darnell, but at the end of the day, as much as we love Ric Flair, as much as I have watched around the world and know all about all the legends from all the countries and whatever. People call Ric Flair like the GOAT, but see, GOAT has been very watered down. GOAT has been very, 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 very watered down. When you're talking about the true number one, the absolute true number one, there's only 3 people in that argument. It's Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, or The Rock. Those are the 3 in that argument. Ric Flair is the next tier under, as great as he was. And Becky Lynch is she's making the case of dude, if this Sasha Banks feud is good, because she helped to make Lacey Evans, even though Lacey Evans hasn't been able to capitalize on that because she's been off TV for a month. She had the Natalya feud, and she sold it as best as possible that Natalya had a chance to beat her. Now she's going to be with Sasha Banks. And Darnell, only before that, she got choked out by Asuka to lose her championship, had a hero's comeback, and won the Royal Rumble. And the whole WrestleMania season was about her and how she was going to win the main event against Ronda Rousey and Charlotte. She's been having the biggest 2000, she's been having one of the best years ever. And if this feud ends with her losing and getting a 5th championship, dude, it's a no contest. I wonder in the Slammies if they'll make it an open gender award, because superstar of the year is usually gender divided. You should have a male and a woman superstar, but I wonder because, man, Becky's running away with it. They might be corny and give it to Seth, but dude, Becky's running away with it. It would be corny as shit if they give it to Seth. Don't lie. Don't play yourself, people. It would be corny as hell if they give it to Seth.
You know, speaking of corny, we had our first Code 24/7 champions on Raw.
Oh God! Hey, shout out! Hey, one clap for Darnell. That was your best segue of the year so far.
I mean, why is the revival involved in the 24/7 picture anyway?
Because they're just waiting out that contract, Darnell. Oh wait, or did they sign a new contract? Or are they still waiting? I don't know. Hell, I don't know. All I know is that we know why the revival was 24/7 champion, and proceeded to lose it 30 seconds later. They didn't even give you time to think. How the hell are Code 24/7 champions gonna lose when they can always watch each other's back? And then 30 seconds later, it's like, well, damn.
So, and then they show up on SmackDown talking trash about the New Day, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
I mean, bro, you gotta have gold to talk smack.
How come they ain't going after the club who took the titles from them?
Because they're bad guys, Darnell. They're bad guys.
I'm in an age where if you're a bad guy and another bad guy takes your title, you don't mess with them.
I mean, I'm looking right now. I mean, just quick results rundown, because again, living under a rock. Samoa Joe beat Sami Zayn by submission. I mean, one clap. The Miz beat Dolph Ziggler by submission. One clap. Ricochet
from SummerSlam with Goldberg.
Yep. Ricochet beat Elias by pinfall. One clap. Andrade defeated Rey Mysterio yet again, but this time it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. So by default,
great fall.
No, it was 2-0. It was a sweep.
2 straight falls.
So we give him 2 claps because technically it's 2 different matches, but yeah.
The legend Rey Mysterio couldn't even get a fall. Got 1 fall.
I wonder how much of his promo was scripted and how much he really felt that, because I don't know where the fuck it's going either. Dude, when he was in New Japan, I was like, yo, like he was honestly about to take Jushin Thunder Liger's spot as that legendary junior heavyweight that's just the OG of the cruiserweight division. And now he's back in WWE, and it's weird because it's Rey Mysterio. So you can't put him on 205 Live because it's like that might be disrespectful. Not from a fan's perspective, but literally, like if you tell Rey Mysterio, hey, do you want to do 205 Live because we know you did the junior heavyweight division in Japan, he might literally get pissed off at that. At the same time, though, it's like, dude, the moment you put Rey Mysterio in the world title picture, everybody's going to turn against him. Because the whole thing right now is like no old guys or whatever. I honestly don't know what to do. I mean, for example, not knowing what to do. Drew took Cedric Alexander all the way back to the United States. But is the damage already done?
Why did that match go as long as it did?
That's my point. Why is Drew McIntyre struggling against a former cruiserweight champion? How is this man supposed to be Shane McMahon's heavy and he's struggling against Shane?
By the way, you threw some key names out there. They bringing the King of the Ring back.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't pick Drew because y'all making Drew struggle with some cruiserweight. Then
on top of that, Baron Corbin is going to be coming back with that tournament.
Actually, the tournament, so Shane McMahon ain't too far behind.
They have a crap load of names in that tournament too. And you know what's going to suck so bad? Oh my God, dude. Why can't they just make King of the Ring the October pay-per-view? Just make King of the Ring the October pay-per-view. I hate the whole do it on TV and it take forever. Dude, just make it a pay-per-view in October, please. The whole TV format is so whack. God, nobody wants to see Baron Corbin's slow ascent to the throne over the span of 3 months.
He better not come close to that.
Dude, right now the front runners are Baron or Drew. Because, dude, when you look at that field, it's straight.
So this guy, they're just gonna throw away his feud with Cedric Alexander, but they're gonna penalize Kevin Owens because he got to deal with Shane McMahon.
And that's exactly what it is. It is a penalty. or here's what would be even worse, Darnell. Be careful what you wish for. What if he wins in spite of Shane McMahon? What if Kevin Owens literally has to overcome Shane McMahon's interference every single match? Then it could be the best in the world versus the King of the Ring at the Royal Rumble. Winner take all. Because you know if they do it TV style with all these damn names, it's going to take till January. You know there's going to be some weeks where they even forget the King of the Ring is a thing.
Matter of fact, Elias is in the tournament.
The current 24/7 champion. So to be honest, I'll rattle these things off because we're already pretty deep in. Robert Roode defeated Noah Jose, 1 clap. All the 24/7 champions, 2 claps because you won some gold. Viking Raiders defeated, jobbers again. We give them golf claps for that. They need real matches at this point.
No, they get no clap because I'm sick of it.
Yeah, well, you get pitter patters if anything, because dude, you're not cutting good promos. We're not interested in U.S. characters, and you're not having real matches. Like, bro, it ain't because at least Braun Strowman was doing comical stuff. Braun Strowman, dude, James Ellsworth came out of the initial Braun Strowman build. Like, it's just, no, stop it. Then the women's tag team champions beat the Kabuki Warriors to retain. So, we should have known, though. We should have known that, when they set up that fatal 4-way, when Alexa Bliss...
With one Raw tag team.
Jesus.
Keep going.
Let's just go to SmackDown.
Kevin Owens got fined $100,000 for beating the brakes off of Elias.
$100 stacks. That's stripping money, Darnell.
He tried to make it 105 by breaking Shane McMahon's TV, but
Charlotte Flair tapped out Ember Moon. It'll be one thing if she hit the natural selection. It'd be one thing if she won by pin. It'd be one thing if she did like a heel dirty pin. Dude, she tapped her out.
That's like legit her finisher now. She
doesn't even do natural selection anymore.
She don't.
That's one of those moves that she just like pulls out during pay-per-views every so often. I feel like the natural selection is pretty much the West Coast pop now. When you see it, it's like, holy shit. It must be WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble. But yeah, so we talked about it before. Bleacher Report gave this match an A-. Said that it was an excellent TV match. 2 worked well together. Should be an indication to WWE officials that Moon is very much ready to work with the top stars in the business. But there is a difference between working with the top stars in the business. You cannot get your ass handed to you 4 times in a row and be considered a major player. Put your foot in your mouth, Dallas. You are talking out of your ass. Buddy Murphy is such an example. Roman Reigns made a star, Darnell.
Hold on. Did anything else happen between that moment when Buddy Murphy got his ass whooped to what happened at the end of the show?
I'm on Bleacher Report, and they're not doing minor segments, so I don't know.
Okay, real quick, because I remember Kofi Kingston got goaded into a 6-man tag match because of Randy Orton. Mm-hmm. So Randy ended up with the Revival and New Day.
Mm-hmm.
Revival defeated New Day with the Shadow Machine to Xavier Woods. Melee breaks up, and Kofi Kingston took an RKO.
Well, these things happen.
trying to remember if anything else happened before then. It's not coming off the top of my head right now. So Brady Murphy gets his ass whooped by Eric Rowan while Daniel Bryan is sitting there talking in the background. First is Brady Murphy to say he lied. So now we got this whole thing, who did it again with Roman Reigns. And you know what? I'm going to give the final part to Dallas because Dallas lost his mind on this.
What, the backstage segment or?
Yeah.
Oh, bro. Oh, man. I feel like I think they made the Samoa Joe Kevin Owens match so flat so they could do this segment. Because, bruh.
Oh, Kevin Owens beat Samoa Joe, so.
Yeah, but it was like super duper flat. And I mean, obviously, after the match, you can see why. They were really trying to get that story hurried up and, like, you know, the point made because, dude, first off, 3 claps for when Eric Rowan threw the training bag and it landed on the hook. 3 claps for just the focus. You know how in the zone you have to be when you are cleaning somebody up and you could just still do tag like, 3 claps for Eric Rowan. But dude, like Daniel Bryan is like talking smack and telling Buddy Murphy basic life lessons as he's getting cleaned up by Rowan. When you do something wrong, you apologize, Darnell. You say that you're sorry. When you lie, you did something wrong, Darnell. You see Buddy getting thrown and thrown and thrown. And Daniel Bryan is just the calm, cool, and collected mastermind of the situation. Darnell, it explained so much. Because when Buddy Murphy said that it was Rowan, and then Rowan just stood there, and Daniel Bryan, I was waiting for Daniel Bryan to look at Rowan. Like, almost like a how could you? But it was weird because Daniel Bryan never looked at Rowan. He just looked down in confusion. Then the next week, while Rowan, or was it SummerSlam? I don't know. Yeah, at SummerSlam when he was touching the hell out of Buddy Murphy the first time, you see Daniel Bryan just looking, just stoic. Like, I'm gonna let you get this, but we have work to do. I'm gonna let you have this, but we have work to do. Then on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan is just teaching life lessons. But for Darnell, before the ass whooping started, Daniel Bryan went forehead to forehead with Buddy Murphy, and Buddy Murphy still wouldn't look him in the eyes.
Oh, and yeah, boy, sitting right across from me.
I said what I said about Ember Moon, but dude, I am sorry. I see how Cedric Alexander got wins over Drew McIntyre. I see how Ember Moon got to have a championship match at SummerSlam, didn't have a match with Charlotte the next time. But god damn it, how can you get your ass torched so many times? And I walk out of this situation thinking, oh my God, Buddy Murphy is in the mix. I don't know. My logic is so skewed. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Because all I'm thinking about with Buddy Murphy is, oh my God, he is working with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. And this is one of the best non-title angles that WWE has done all year. I want to say in a while, but I want to be fair. I know for sure this year, this is like one of, if not the best non-title angles that WWE has done. I feel like this whole thing is about Buddy Murphy, and the whole focus is on Buddy Murphy, but it's not about Buddy Murphy. But somehow, some way, this whole thing is about Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is getting good matches. Buddy Murphy is having backstage segments. Like, Roman Reigns is the one that got hit with the car, but this all centers around Buddy Murphy.
How did the show end?
Oh, well, Buddy Murphy admitted that he did in fact lie. And then, they go to Roman Reigns, and this is what confused the shit out of me. Daniel Bryan said, before you get hurt, we just want to tell you that we know who did it, and we'll tell you next week. And for whatever reason, Roman was okay with waiting 7 days to find out who tried to clean him up with a whole Buick. So, yeah, there's that. I mean, Yep. You already talked about NXT, and we're an hour plus in. Well, it was a big 4 pay-per-view though, Darnell. So we'll tighten it up. everything. I hope everybody's happy because we had a TakeOver, does pretty good, a SummerSlam. So you got to cover a Big Four pay-per-view. But then we actually had significant stuff happen on the two shows. So, hey, you can't be mad at us. You can't blame us. Darnell, is there anything you would like to say before we end this extremely long episode?
No. Next week, we get to talk about some football.
Yay! Hello, everybody. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
College football. We got 2 games on the docket.
Yep.
And we talking about the best conference in college football.
Yep.
And then we'll get into the West divisions in the NFL.
Some would say the best divisions in the NFL. Well, everybody, as you know, if you don't know by now, because I've let it slip many times, this is on tape delay. So, it's the preseason. I don't know if your team plays tonight, but mine does. And, I would be remiss if on a Jaguars game day, I did not say what I always say, but with so much more emphasis and so much more passion. Fuck you, Nashville, and fuck you, the Titans of Tennessee.